Hello, this is Todd with Open Design Blog. The first thing that I'm going to show today is Figma. So Figma is a free design software that you can get online. Right now I'm running in the browser. You can download a software that you can install on your computer for Windows or for Mac, but I'm on Linux, so I'm just using the one in the browser. So you can do the same exact thing inside the browser as you can on the desktop application. It actually looks exactly the same, and what I have here, what you're looking at right now, is all my projects that I created inside of Figma. And then also some starter templates, so they give you some sample files. You can go ahead and download some different types of templates off of their website. What I did was I just went into Google and searched for them, and also you can download sketch files, so the .sketch file extension, and it'll give you, you can actually run them in Figma, which is great. So there are a few things that I made in Sketch that I pulled into Figma here. So Sketch is a paid type of version of Figma. Actually, it's the other way around. Figma is a free version of Sketch. So I made this inside of Sketch, and it translated directly over to Figma. So what Figma is it's a design tool that you can create vector graphics with, so meaning that it's kind of like Illustrator. It's actually just a free version of Sketch, and typically it's used for doing user interface design. So user interface design lets you lay out what a screen looks like, where things should be positioned, and then later on I'll show a tool called Zeppelin that lets you directly translate that stuff over into CSS, which you can use to build an actual web page or phone application that looks exactly like this. It's pretty powerful, pretty amazing, and I've used it a lot. But what I want to show you today is just getting started. How do you use Figma? What do you do? So anyway, I'll just create a new file, and so what happens here is it'll let me name this. So I'll just name this Open Design Blog 101, and so I'll show you just around to some of the tools. So here, a frame tool, a slice tool. So a frame tool, if I click on that, lets you decide over here on the right hand side what types of aspect ratios do you want. So we have different phones here, we have different tablets, desktop resolutions, so MacBook, MacBook Pro, Surface Book, iMac, watch. That's kind of interesting if you want to design stuff for the Apple Watch. For paper, so print stuff out, flyers, letterhead. Maybe you even want to do your resume like this. That's totally possible. You can do it that way. And social media. So this is really helpful. You want to make a cover photo, or for all these different types of social media things, you can go ahead and do that. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and do the iPhone 10 aspect ratio. What it did is it dropped in a frame for that iPhone 10 size in there. Okay, so this tool here are drawing tools. So you can do a rectangle. So what I did was I just clicked and dragged and generated a rectangle. So here you can change the fill color in real time. That's super helpful. Lots of tools out there don't let you get this real-time preview with color, but fortunately you can here. And okay, so you can make all sorts of stuff. I just made a rectangle. You can do lines. Just do a line. If you hold down shift, you can snap it. Snap it in that direction that you're pulling it. So let me make another line. So you can make absolutely straight up and down, side to side lines. All you do is click and drag it. Click and drag. It does auto alignment, which is great. It's pretty nice. So drag this guy. So each of these objects that I made throws it in this sidebar over here, so you can see what objects you actually have. Now if you click and drag around them and hit Control G on Windows or Linux, or it's actually Command G on Mac, and create a group. Then I can Control Z or Command Z back out of that to undo my function, to ungroup them. So they're all currently grouped inside of this one frame tool. So you can generate a number of different frame tools. Say if you have an iPhone prototype that you want to make and you have a button that links to different screens, if you generate a bunch of different frames, those act as different screens, and you can actually hit this present button and present a clickable prototype. It's pretty awesome. So I'll just keep going through this though, each of the tools. So arrow tool is what it says. It's an arrow. So one of the things I can show is changing the weights of these. You can either type in a value. I usually just select what's in there. So to move stuff around, I showed you the click and drag. Another way that I like is holding down shift and using the arrow keys, and it'll give you alignment tools. So shift and arrow moves it a big increment, and then just the arrow tool moves it a very small increment. And you saw that line show up still while I was pressing this key. It does an auto alignment even if you're pressing the key, which is really powerful. So I typically do it that way, especially if I'm on a laptop, which I enjoy using laptops more. I don't so much like using a mouse. A mouse is faster for me, but I found out using the shift arrow keys and actually just the arrow keys has sped me up quite a bit. And that's what I care about, is how good does it look, plus how fast can I go. And that's one reason why I use Figma too. So ellipse tool. You can throw an ellipse on here, and you can constrain proportions holding down shift, selecting a fill once again. Or let's say I want this the same color as that block. Select that. Okay, so I can make circles, I can make ovals, I can make polygons, I can constrain again by holding down shift. You can set the count, same as all other tools. Set rotation, X, Y, width, height, round, or corner radius. Oh, it even tells you, okay, if you hover over stuff, it tells you what it is. Constraints, those are pretty helpful. So eventually you may use those. I use them quite a bit to retain scaling with a page. Let's see. So stroke, you can add a stroke to this. Just hit the add button. Effects, say okay, yeah, drop shadow, cool. I'm gonna drop shadow. Go in here to edit it. 10, something like that. 50. Okay. Right. Let's get this guy. If you want to duplicate an object, hold down Alt. Oops, my Linux, I have Alt is grab the screen. So I'll just do Control CV, does the same thing. So if you're on Windows or Mac, you can turn it off in Linux for the Alt grab screen, but you can hold down the Alt key, click and drag, and it'll generate a new one. It's the same thing as Control C, Control V here. And let's say you want to change the fill of these guys again. You can do two objects, select both of these guys, shift select, choose that fill in the eyedropper. Okay, so you get it. Star, place image. So these are nice if you don't know what images you want. You're designing a UI, you want a placeholder, you can throw an image placeholder in there, and then later on you can generate your image and point it at this placeholder and it'll populate it. Pen tool, pretty basic, same thing as what's in Illustrator. You can draw points. So this is where you can get into drawing complex shapes like icons, whatever else. It has the same functions as the other objects. So you can set a stroke, you can add a fill, set the fill, you can also pick a fill, you can also pick your stroke if you saw that. It's the same exact tool. Okay, text. So you can throw some text in here, just click and this is some text. Hit enter to get a new line. Click off of it. I think it's also escape to remove focus. So I can set my text properties, very similar to other tools. This text, just like Sketch, if you scale it, it doesn't scale the text. Text has to be controlled by the number. There are a bunch of other text values here: letter spacing, line height, paragraph spacing, paragraph indentation, alignment, and these are other sorts of alignment as well. Then so for each one of these, there's these little ... gives you advanced, says advanced type. Okay, so it gives you advanced options in there. I can go deeper into those later, but basically that's the text tool. And comments. So this is pretty cool. If you want to share this file with people or a team or whatever, you can, well, that's the library button. So you can share this thing. So see this share button up here? You can, so what I usually do is I copy the link of this and I send it out to people, and I only, so you can say anyone with the link, you can say only specific members, but you can let people just edit it, you can let them just view it, or view and edit. Of course they're going to be able to do both, but if you don't want them touching your file, which is great, you can say just can view. And if you do a screen share with them or get on the phone with them, whatever they prefer, you can design right in front of them. Like if they have text updates or whatever else, you can do that. You can change stuff, get feedback in real time. That's why Figma is great. Great for screen share, great for usability testing, presenting your design, yeah, so you can also, if you want, create different users for different projects, for different, whatever you want. You have different email addresses. Say you have like your personal, you want to make a personal account, then you want to make a business account to keep both things of work separate, you can do that. So those are kind of the real basics of Figma. I just kind of wanted to show that to get started. And so that's all I have for this session. Thanks.